So recording now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our final tasting of the North American wines. And tonight we'll be tasting 2 red wines. They seems to be of the same group, right? But they're quite different with regards to style, quality, and region as well. I might be mistaken as I'm usually are. So, right. Who can help me with the first one, which is wine number 5?
I can. All right. I just got a little bit fast around it, but it looks like a medium ruby wine with medium intensity in the nose, and I found it more richer than the other one with a lot of wood, vanilla, oak, and milk chocolate, and some fruits like black plum and some flowers, violet, and a lot of vegetable, herbal aromas like grass. Okay. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. In the mouth, it seems like an off-dry wine with a medium to medium plus acidity, high alcohol, a medium body, a medium plus intensity, and it's like similar to in the nose and in the mouth with pepper, much more vegetable in the mouth, some bay leaves and some spice, bay leaf, dried herbs, and also the wood, some coffee, and red fruits. A medium plus finish. And the tannins, I don't know a lot about the tannins, but it looks like a medium tannins, and they are not, they seem to be soft.
Okay.
And that's it.
How about quality?
It's a very good wine. And I don't think it's a very good wine because it has a lot of a good finish, a medium plus finish, and a whole diversity of aromas and flavors, and a good intensity in the mouth. So for me, it's a very good wine, but it's not suitable for aging.
Okay. Good call. Who else can help me?
I would go for medium purple, medium intensity towards medium plus, but there's some alcohol in the nose, so it's a little pungent in the nose because of the alcohol. I can perceive some really ripe black fruit like plum, blackberries, boysenberries, really, really ripe. I don't know how to say this in English, but it reminds me of jambolão.
Yeah.
It was in English.
I doubt that it's in English, but
I don't know. Yeah. And it also gets some vanilla and some spices, some really sweet vanilla, sweet spices, some cloves, some cinnamon, but the vanilla takes it all. I don't get much toast, roast, and no tertiary aromas at all. So it's a youthful, a young wine, or a youthish wine. Youngish, it would be better. What else? In the mouth. Off dry, medium acidity. It's enough to balance the wine, but I don't get this wine as a fresh wine. But I guess the acidity is just well balanced. The tannins are medium towards medium minus, really soft, really smooth. Alcohol, I would go for high. The body, medium flavor intensity. I will go for medium with the same profile as the nose. So ripe black fruit, plum, blackberry, some cassis, and some black cherries as well, and also a lot of vanilla, some spices. Um, and, it almost gets a creamy texture. It's really soft in the palate.
Mhm.
And the short, I will go for medium. So I guess it's a good wine, really, really well made, good wine, but not suitable for bottle aging. It lacks acidity, it lacks fruit concentration, but it's really good for drinking right now.
Mhm. Yeah. Anna or Chris, would you like to make any comments with regards to the wine, the quality, the good variety, or the way that you have perceived the wine?
I kind of agree with both of them, but I don't get the off dry. I perceived a dry wine because I think it's maybe because of the ripe fruit. Forgive me if I'm saying something stupid, but I don't know. I don't get. I wish you could explain that to me because I don't get the off dry in this one. And I agree with the medium acidity. Tannins, I think they are medium plus, but they are soft. I don't get like very low. The quality of tannins, they are quite good. And the nose, I agree. Spices, black pepper. I got a little bit of tobacco and cedro and things like that, and vanilla, sweet spices, and good quality wine. I'm just picking up some things. Well, I don't know.
For me, it's kind of the same thing. And I have a doubt about the color. Thiago, I don't know if I understood the color very well, but for me, I think it's the second one for me is better than the first one, wine in quality. But I don't know if I think is it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for all your insights with regards to the wine. I'm tasting little by little the second wine, so I really don't want to comment on the second one yet. I mean, for me, the wine is still very cold, both of them. But the first thing that I have noticed by comparing both glasses is the color. The first one seems to be youthful, youngish, when compared to the second one. If I'm mistaken, I would go for like a 2018 if I was to judge by the color. And then the wine, with regards to the aromas, so I'll go for like a medium ruby sort of color. Let me turn off my WhatsApp web so we don't get good, so we don't be disturbed by the notification. So I get the first wine, wine number 5, like a medium sort of a ruby color. But sometimes at the very beginning, I had that sort of a rim of purpleness to it. But I think it's ruby. At the very beginning, I had a sort of a hint of bluish that leads me to think that the wine is quite youngish in a way, of youthfulness. And then the aromas, for me, the intensity, again, my wine is quite cool, but I think it's like a medium intensity of aromas. What sort of aromas do I get? Well, I get all these black fruits, the plum, the black cherries, a little bit of tobacco, a little bit of blackcurrant in a more sort of germy moment of the fruit. So there's jam to it. There is very generosity of overripe fruit, ripe to overripe to jammy, to but not dehydrated, not dry fruit yet. So it's still very plummy, very jammy, which makes me think that those grapes are either coming from very warm region, or perhaps there was a heat wave. Perhaps the grapes have been harvested at the end of the season, or perhaps they're coming from a warm region. So these are all the sort of clues that I gather from the aromas that I get. And then obviously the vanilla and the sweet spice on the background, which tells me that this wine has been aged on our barrels, like second fill for a short moment of time, 6 to 12 months sort of thing, which I think it could be the case like a 40% of the wine has been aged on this sort of French barrels. And the reason I'm saying French, because I don't get the coconut. However, the sweet spice is usually related to American oak. So there could be a mixture of American oak and French oak to this wine, which makes the wine slightly more interesting. Okay. Then when I taste the wine, I feel that the wine being dry, but there is a generosity to it of the flavors. We could lead you to off dry, but you know, dry to off dry, at the end of the day, we are saying there is a generosity of sweetness, of perception of flavor to the wine. So I think it's dry. I think it's medium plus body. I think it's 14% alcohol, 14 plus, you know, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. But it's definitely high alcohol. Might be wrong, but that's how I perceive the wine. Then, you know, the acidity, I would go for medium plus, but I agree with you guys. It's not very persistent. It's not very penetrating. It's not very watering, but it's just enough for you to say, you know, it's counterbalancing the body, the alcohol, and the tannins. And when we talk about the tannins, you know, I would go for medium and I would go for velvet. You know, the quality of the tannins, guys, you know, it's amazing that the wine is so good. I mean, when you pay attention to the quality, the texture, you feel in love with it because it has this sort of yeah, it has this sort of warmth. It has this sort of broadness of flavor, and then you get the jamminess, and then you see that there is not much of acidity, and then you taste the tannins, and you go like, whoa! It wraps up the wine in such a way that you feel in love with the wine. So it's really well made when you think on a quality of the tannins, then you go like, ooh, like it. There is not much of a concentration here. I'll go for medium concentration and I'll go for medium minus finish. It doesn't last much longer. It's not that broad, not that deep, but it's in balance with everything that we have seen. And obviously because of the complexity, the concentration and the finish, which I get more of a toast and malolactic. So it's very lactic, the finish of the wine. So the finish is more toastiness from the oak and lactic from the malolactic. And this sort of creaminess or richness or generosity to it of the texture. You go like, but you know, good in a good way, but there's not much to it. So yeah, good call to say not suitable for aging or further aging. So drink young. And when you think of drinking young, you think it can't be a very expensive wine. It can't be a very sought after wine. It's a good wine made to be drunk, youthful, young. 2, 3 years, 4 years maybe. But the longer it ages, the more it loses with regards to concentration and the back palate. So I think it's a good wine rather than very good. What I have with regards to the good things about the wine is more of the texture and than anything else, the roundness on the palate than anything else. But then you've got to think of aromas and the wine. how the wine was made, and perhaps the grape variety. Does he has anything that sticks out as a grape variety? I think that
When I opened the bottle, when I just put the wine in the glass, I thought, oh, it's a Cabernet Sauvignon. But then after some time, it has lost the veg part.
But there is a lot of mint
Yeah.
on the nose. Now it's very clear. I was thinking about the herbal thing here. They are not green, the herbs, but there is the mint, the eucalyptus. How do you say that, Thiago?
Yep,
Eucalyptus. Okay, I can feel that here too.
Yeah, you see.
And the flowers, right? I don't know who said flowers. I think some kind of violet here, something like that.
Sorry, Ligia, you were saying.
Yeah, I love flowers, so that's why.
So, okay, if you said Cabernet Sauvignon, why is it Cabernet Sauvignon? What are the clues to this wine that you can use for the exam to say, oh, the grape variety is Cabernet Sauvignon because of?
The black fruits that I felt in the beginning, and also the veg part with some mint, I agree, but in the beginning some cloves and a little thing that reminds me some pyrazine. I don't know how to say a vegetable with this aroma, but that was the beginning of the wine.
Okay.
And this veg, I think, is still here.
All right, but
it's black
fruit and pyrazine, Cabernet has lots of it. So you haven't convinced me that because of the black fruit and the pyrazine is Cabernet Sauvignon.
Who can help me? But I feel it looks like a Cabernet for me because of all the aromas together. And it's from a hot climate because of this ripe fruits and jammy fruits.
Vinny?
I don't get much of Cabernet Sauvignon. I usually expect high acidity, high tannins on a cab wine. This wine doesn't get high acidity or high tannins, so I won't go for cab. I don't get much greenness to it. And well, let's consider this is a warm climate wine or a warm year. In a warm year, cabs tend to ripe really quickly. And this does not decreases the pyrazine level that much. So this would be a more pyrazinic wine if this were to be a Cabernet Sauvignon. Or they use some techniques to avoid the pyrazines, but I don't get much greenness to this wine that I would expect on a Cabernet Sauvignon as this style. But I'm also confused about this wine. This one doesn't scream to me grape variety specifically. If I have to say, because we are in the States, I would go for Zinfandel because of the black fruit, the sweet tobacco, high alcohol, moderate acidity.
I thought about Syrah too, Zinfandel too.
But I would go for Zinfandel, or I would go for a blend where the producers use the grape to add some acidity to the Zinfandel, so they pick it up a overripe Zinfandel and then put something into the blend to counterbalance the acidity. So I'm going more towards a blend than towards a grape variety, because this to me doesn't scream. I don't get the black pepper to go to Syrah. I don't get any clues. Well, I could go for a Merlot, for example, but on a Merlot that ripes that fast, I would expect, I can get black fruit. I could go for a Merlot either, but I get more Zinfandel than Merlot in this wine.
Yeah, I don't get much of the dry fruit the Zinfandel would add to the wine. But considering that most of ours, are quite liberal with regards to the percentage. So for any grape variety, 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, you are allowed to have between 20 to 15% of any other grape variety. So if you say it's Merlot, you know, 15% could be any other thing, or 10% could be any other thing, which could add a little bit of aromas or flavors or texture of another grape variety. But I don't get
and
much of the fruit.
And presuming this is an AVA wine,
AVA.
because of the style, this is not a Nava wine. You know, this is from a broader region, something like California or Central Valley, or this talks to me more of a generic Californian wine than an AVA, a Nava wine. You know,
does it say? I don't think it's that generic.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it either. But I don't think this have the specificity enough to be pinpointed to somewhere.
I don't think it's a premium wine. Therefore, the best grape varieties. Therefore, I'm thinking more of a humble wine that has a sort of a generic identity of a region.
Okay.
So, because of the alcohol, because of the generosity of the fruit, because of the oak, I would say California as opposed to any other, as opposed to say Sonoma, sort of that what I could gather of this wine for the time being. But you know, we mentioned black fruit, and we mentioned the quality of the tannins. Cabernet Sauvignon does has black fruit. That you know, it's common to find in Cabernet Sauvignon from United States this sort of a jaminess, this sort of deep black fruit that we get on the nose and on the flavors. And sweet spice goes really well with Cabernet Sauvignon. But do you see the oak overpowering the fruit, or do you see the oak disjointed from the wine?
Yeah. For me, it's jointed.
So well
I
blended
can,
in.
yeah, that's why I said it's a very good wine, because it has the oak, but the fruit is on the top.
So this good or premium grape varieties, very good grape varieties, it has affinity to oak. Some grapes don't have affinity to oak. Other grapes does has affinity to oak. And Cabernet Sauvignon has a very good affinity to oak. So, you know, that could be a lead to say, you know, it could be Cabernet Sauvignon because it goes really well with oak. You know, that's one of the leads. But again, but as well as I do not see Syrah, I don't see Pinot Noir, I don't see Merlot, but the medium acidity could be Merlot. But usually Merlot, when I see from warm climate, I usually see more depth of the fruit. And sometimes I see more structure to the body and to the depth of fruit, and I don't see here. Also, there could be 10% of maybe Ida Merlot or maybe Zinfandel. That could be. So if you call, it might be a blend where Cabernet Sauvignon could be the main grape variety. That's a very good guess if you know that you are United States, because you know that there is a flexibility for blending here. So, you know, you're playing with knowledge that you already have, and it's good to use that on your side. Let's taste the second wine. So we put them together because we put this flight together because it is the same grape variety. It's supposed to be the same grape variety.
Completely different.
So who can comment on the second grape variety, second wine?
Nobody.
It's a really big wine, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, bigger than the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any case. So medium ruby. I would go for medium plus, pronounced in the nose. And this got a lot of, well, plenty of layers. So in this case, I sense the green. So eucalyptus, some mint leaves. I also get black currant, red currant, ripe fruit, not overripe. I don't get the same jamminess we got in the first wine. Black pepper, some paprika, you know, dry red black bell pepper. Some smoke, leather, but it's just it's primary, secondary, maybe just it's more on the tobacco than the leather side, you know. I get the tobacco here, yeah.
Exactly.
Like pipe tobacco, cigarette tobacco. I get some wood, some cedar wood. It's some bay leaves in this case, a lot of bay leaves. It's really nice in the nose, really appealing. And this one, and in the nose, this one screams to me Cabernet Sauvignon.
How about quality? It's a heavy
Quality.
bottle, though. It's a really
Yeah.
heavy bottle. Oh my God.
Well, considering we don't get to weigh the bottle during the tasting in the class, I would go for a very good wine because it gets a really nice freshness in the mouth. I won't go for high acidity. Well, I could go towards high, but I would stick in medium plus because it gets high alcohol. It gets a full body, or medium plus at least, but I'll go for full body. Have a medium plus concentration in the mouth. And okay, again, black fruit, spices, wood, tobacco, and it lasts in the mouth. So it gets a nice length to it, at least. Well, I'll go for medium plus. What else? So I'll go for a very good wine. It gets complexity, it's well balanced. It can age, it can evolve a little bit. So it can go through further aging. So I'll go for very good, and it can age a little bit more.
Right. Ladies, would you like to share any comments?
For me, in the nose, I felt much more of the wood like some clove, a lot of spice like some anise, and the wood was more intense for me. It's my perception, but other than that, it's the same thing. And I also think it's a very good wine. I'm in doubt if it's suitable for aging because I don't find a lot of fruit to make it keep going. For me, it has some ash in the mouth and in the nose. And I would say it's a very good one. I think it's the same level of the other one. This one I felt dry, the other one off dry, and it's a little bit better, but it's not that different. But it's a very interesting wine. And I agree, it looks like more Cabernet Sauvignon than the other one, and I still think that both of them would be Cabernet Sauvignon.
Chris and Anna, would you like to comment anything?
We totally with Vinny. For me, it's a very good wine, suitable for aging. And I felt every aromas that Vinny said. And for me, it's more typical Cabernet Sauvignon than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, I'm not sure about it. But I think more typical.
Okay. Chris, would you like to comment on the wine?
Well, I agree, and well, I think that we have here some very good hint of tobacco and all the smells that come from the wood.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the black fruit, mature, ripe, not overripe. And I get very spicy and mint and balsamic. Balsamic. Is there a word in English?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And I think that we have here the tannins that we have here high tannins, and the tannins here are still very young and they are not, they don't, eles não incomodam. How can I say that? They are not.
You can say it's balanced, it's well-rounded. You can say.
But they are young. They are still rough, a little bit rough. You can feel them
ripe.
more in the mouth.
Ripe, yeah, but you can say it's too, yeah. It needs some time, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and the acidity here, I thought it's high.
Mm-hmm.
It's not medium. I think it's high acidity, and the concentration of fruit in the mouth is very good. So I think this one is going to go further. It's going to last longer. I don't know, maybe 10 years or more. I don't know. I think this one goes very far. Thinking about the grape variety, I would go for Cabernet Sauvignon too, but maybe a blend.
Sure. You see, if you face those two wines together like it is right now, that could be a question saying, you know, those four wines have same grape variety in common. So what's the grape variety? Well, they could be of the same grape variety from the same country. So you've got to use both wines to justify your answer. So it's important not to draw a conclusion. It's very important to have accurate notes, because once you have accurate notes, you can use an information from one wine and retaste the second wine, and then you can cross over information. And those two wines are coming from the same grape variety, coming from the same country. Both of them have a really distinguished tannins. The second one has a much more elegant wine, elegant tannins, more volume, more concentration. But both of them are quite elegant. You know, the tannins are quite sophisticated. I think that's the word. They're quite sophisticated. They involve you in such a way that suddenly you buy a second bottle. You know, you drunk it all. You know, if the conversation is good, suddenly you need another bottle. That's how clever the tannins are. And the second wine is telling you I'm more premium than the first wine. I have more concentration. I have more layers. It's more broad, more freshness.
Yes.
And you can see some elements on the second wine that you can, if you go and retaste the first, you're gonna see a common link. Think on the licorice of the second wine. you get a hint of licorice on the first wine. You got a black fruit and red fruit. You know, very good, Vinny, when you said currant, black currant and red currant. I actually see dry red currant and dry black currant to the wine. So I get some sort of a dry fruit to the wine. So there is jamminess, there is ripe fruit, and I get dry fruit, dry figs to the second wine. Along with the licorice and along with tobacco, along with this sort of a developing, think on level 3, developing sort of a state of nose that I get on the second wine. The first wine, not much. The second wine, just first and secondary aromas. But here I get a hint of tertiary aromas, which is more on licorice, sort of leathering, developing a little bit. And if I was to pinpoint at a year, perhaps the second wine is like a little bit older than the first wine. So if I say 2018 for the first, I would say 2017 for the second wine. But the second wine is much more concentrated. So therefore, I would say dry, full body, 14.5% alcohol level, so high. I would say medium plus acidity, too high, but medium plus is where I would say, but more penetrating, more, again, still soft, but more penetrating, more present. And the tannins are medium plus and they're soft, really, really involving and really soft, very flirty. It has a sort of sophisticated touch to the tannins, which is amazing. Medium plus concentration, long finish to medium plus, so medium plus to long. So it's, you know, the concentration and the flavors, the broadness of the flavor that you get. But hey, don't be mistaken. This is a wine built to age. You should be able to taste the back flavors or the lingering flavors or of young flavors that needs developing. So there's no gamey there. There's not much of a licorice there. So these are flavors that needs evolving. I would not say that the tannins needs evolving. I would say that the flavors needs or could evolve to this wine. So I would say it's a very good wine built to age. It needs more time, or it could age a little bit longer, 5-6 years. For a new world country, it's easy for you to have these sort of layers and muscularity and concentration. What is difficult to have is beauty and elegancy and perhaps freshness. And what we get to this wine is all the concentration, but beauty and elegance to the wine. You know what I mean? So these are elements, these are very good and positive elements to this wine. And if you were to say that those two wines are coming from the same country, but distinct AVAs, what would you place them? I think that one is very concentrated and the other one is slightly more supple, slightly more low-key, perhaps speak with a lower voice. What could we say between them?
I could say the first one would be from a warmer place. Yes, no.
The first one I will go for Southern California, a warmer place, something that's Paso Robles or such. And the second one, I'll place in Northern California, Northern Coast, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But Paso Robles has a lot of fog, depending on the year, and so it's much easier to make a pyrazine-driven wine than Northern California. Think on style. The second one is so concentrated. What is the region that makes such a concentrated wines?
So in the inner part of Napa Valley?
Yeah, Napa Valley would be a region that you go, you know, it could be Napa. I mean, it's premium, it's very good. It has a good concentration of Cabernet Sauvignon to the blend. It has affinity oak, probably French oak and a little bit of American oak. It has all these sort of dry fruit that we can get on a very warm climate, such as Napa Valley. So as long as you argue and you make a link of the elements that you get to the wine that is related to Napa, great. If the second was to be Napa, where would you place the first? Which is always good to go back. And remember, are those two wines of the same quality?
No.
No.
Oh, you're comparing these. You're comparing these with different regions. So where a second wine, second quality wine, like the first wine, could be made, if not in Napa.
It's, for me, it's like a very good wine from Central Valley because it's from a hot place, a warmer place. It should have been added some acidity to it because for me, it has a very good acidity. It's simple. It's a simple wine for me. Number 5.
The first wine, let's discuss. The first wine is not concentrated. The flavors, it doesn't have much acidity, doesn't have much of concentration or much acidity. But overall, the wine is more rounder, more integrated. There is more beauty. Where do you get wines like this? What sort of influence do they have? Do they have cooling influence? Do they have cooling influence? Wines that have more beauty, more integration, more elegance. Do they have sort of a cooling influence?
To a higher place, you mean?
It could be either higher place or it could be closer to the
coast.
Yeah. So think that perhaps the second one came to a region where it doesn't have any cooling influence. It's more warm, right? Therefore, it's more concentrated. And depending on the grapes that I have used on the blend, it has a natural high acidity, right? But all in line with a warm region. We all felt the alcohol of the second wine higher, still on a high level, but higher than the first wine. And then when you go back to the first wine, you feel, yeah, it's coming from a warm, moderated to warm climate. Yeah. But the alcohol is not that high. The concentration is not that concentrated. And overall, the wine doesn't speak with a loud voice. It's more lower, it's more, calm and tranquil. Could it be moderated? Yeah, it could. But that's not the first wine. There's a second wine of a good producer, perhaps. So think of Bordeaux, Grand Cru Classé. The second wines are usually more round and more easy drinking than the house wine, the Grand Vin. So where do we have ocean influence? Where do we have a coastal range? Where do we have altitudes that both place into the quality and style wines? Cabernet Sauvignon. Russian River, Sonoma, right?
Yeah.
And then if you think of Sonoma Cabernet Sauvignon, the first wines, they usually have high acidity, but the fruit is not that concentrated. The wines are not that powerful, more beauty, more elegant, more, and we do get there here, but the acidity is not there. But the texture of the fruit is more, it's more, how can I say, don't remember the words, but the quality of the fruit, the texture of the fruit, it feels more cooler as opposed to really warm. Shall we discuss the wines? Shall we uncover the wines?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's discover the first wine.
Number 5. It's a California one.
Jolier's Californian wines. California Cabernet Sauvignon 2018, not that bad. Selling in bottle by Per Vineyards, and it has 13.5% alcohol, so it's not high.
Oh.
Ooh.
It looks like it had more than that.
Yeah, we all felt slightly higher than that. I would love to go into the website of this producer, because for me it tastes like some Sonoma wines. Second wine of Sonoma wines. Let's go into our second wine, which so this is Ménage à Trois, aged 3 months in bourbon barrels. So it's from bourbon. Aged in 3 months in bourbon barrels result in a rich, full-body, expressive Cabernet Sauvignon, also from California. Limited release 2018, same year. Ménage à Trois, okay, this is from Santa Elena, Napa Valley. Lovely Cabernet Sauvignon, unexpected heights, Ménage à Trois, distinctive wine often rich with jammy blackberry, black fruit, camel, and smoke. Okay. And the alcohol level, does anybody have alcohol level? I don't get here.
No.
At the very bottom, okay, 14.50.
Have 14 and a half.
14 and a half. So yeah, okay, good. Let's get into our first wine, Julier's Cabernet Sauvignon. Let's see what we source online from this producer.
And the winery website, the tech sheet just says rubbish, and rubbish.
Yeah, it doesn't say much.
Yeah, 5.9 grams per liter of sugar.
Ooh.
No, this is the total acidity, not the sugar level.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I got the producer, and I went into Cabernet Sauvignon, and then the wine that appears is the Pinot Noir.
Yeah, I went to the website of the winery, and there is the tech sheet for the Cabernet Sauvignon, but it doesn't say much.
Okay. Let me go into wine.com.
You go to the importer in Brazil, it says it's a Sonoma, California wine.
Yeah? Is
Yeah,
that what you say?
from Smart Pie Wine.
Yeah, I found a website that said it's 78% Cabernet Sauvignon, 17% Petit Verdot, and 5% Ruby Red. And stainless steel and French oak.
Which one, Vini? The second one?
The first one.
No, the first one.
The first one. Okay, it's okay.
First one.
Yeah, I had 6 to 12 months. So how long has it been aged into French oaks?
It doesn't say. Let me get to the.
Okay. So at wine.com, there isn't much information as well as
No, not at all.
the wines they retail for about $12 to $16. So that's how much they retail for in US. And it only says California. It doesn't say anything else.
Yep. Here, the 2018 Joliet California Cabernet Sauvignon is sourced primarily from Lodi, California, which is reflected in the dark fruit aromas of blackcurrant, cherry, violets, and baking spices that jump from the glass.
Okay.
So Lodi is the main source for the grapes.
Lodi. Okay.
Lodi.
Yeah, it makes sense. Medium acidity to medium plus, not much of a concentration. Does it say it's 100% Sauvignon, Cabernet Sauvignon? No.
Nope.
Okay. 13.5% alcohol means water or something else could have been added to dilute the alcohol, because I guess it could easily go to 14% alcohol or plus. But if they have harvested earlier in order to retain acidity.
But the tannins is not, it doesn't look like a wine where the grapes were harvested earlier because of the tannins.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, I'm just thinking how they managed to get 13.5% alcohol. They either harvest earlier, or they either have diluted the alcohol into water or any other thing in order to reduce the alcohol level.
In this level of wine, would they remove the alcohol?
Yeah, it's likely, but if they remove the alcohol, they also remove flavors and aromas.
Yeah, but if you make a transverse osmosis, then you would get the alcohol out of it without taking the other parts.
Yeah.
But then it would be very expensive.
And yeah, for an easy accessible wine.
Thiago.
Yeah.
There's a shop that says that this wine from 2018 is 88% Cabernet Sauvignon and 12% Petit Verdot.
Petit Verdot.
Petit Verdot.
Shouldn't it have more acidity for Petit Verdot? Because Petit Verdot, there's quite high acidity and blueberries.
Yeah, that's why I guess it maybe not, but
Yeah.
it's a second text sheet from a shop that has Petit Verdot on the blend. So
yeah,
who knows?
Who knows what is here? It's California. Hooray! It's wine.
Yeah.
Right. And how about the second wine? Because I cannot get much information here on wine.com.
Here.
The producer, if I find the producer.
Yeah. Let me check the website of the winery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the website of the winery is sold by $15. 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. 15. 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. 100%. Winemaker notes. They sought grapes from select Alexander Valley vineyards.
Mm-hmm.
So this is spectacular area of California's North Coast AVA. So Alexander Valley.
Yeah.
But they say, before it's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, and then in the winemaker notes, they say that to the Cabernet Sauvignon, they added a touch of Merlot and Petit Syrah for balance.
And Petit Syrah for balance, and Merlot for body and texture.
So that's the ménage à trois, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it makes no sense. Because the text sheet doesn't make no sense, because they say before it's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, and then they add the other things to it. So
yeah, but well, but up to 85% of Cabernet Sauvignon, and depending the region, they're not claiming a region, they're claiming California. Therefore, if it's from California, it's fine.
I get it, but there's no point to say in the text sheet to display two different informations. 100% Cabernet Sauvignon with hints of Petit Syrah and Merlot. It's nonsense.
But how much of Petit Syrah and Merlot?
They say a hint of it, a touch of it.
It could be almost 15%. It doesn't matter.
If up to 85%, if 85% is Cabernet Sauvignon, then therefore is a Varieté wine.
Okay, I get Varieté wine from 85%, but I don't get. There is displayed 100% Cabernet Sauvignon.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem is the percentage. Well, let me put in the chat, so you can check yourselves. This is the winery website.
I'm right here. It says 100% Cabernet Sauvignon.
And then in the winemaker notes.
Yeah. It says something else. Amazing. Amazing. How can they do that? Jesus. Okay.
That's why it's not a high level wine, because they don't know what they have there. Anyway.
You see, and you know what? They say the pH is 3.75, which means the pH is quite high for that sort of acidity. So it's telling you we have acidified the wine in a very good and fashionable manner. But yeah, they've done it because the acidity is quite high. I mean, but the alcohol is high, the acidity is high, and the pH is high. There's something wrong here. But the wine is good. I mean, you can't say it's not good. I mean, it's made in a very good manner. But with that sort of a pH, I doubt it. I would age this wine for 10 years because it won't last. Because the pH is far too high. It's not going to last that long. And it's funny because the price of the second wine, let's see the price here, it's $15. So the second wine it's sold in USA for $15, which is more or less almost the same price of the first wine, which goes from 12 to 16. And the second wine is much better, much more complex, rounder, soft, intense than the first, for almost the same price, depending the vintage and the variation and the retailer and so on and so on. So that's quite funny. That's quite funny. And I would rather say the second wine is very good and the first wine is just good. Same price, same product. Both wines are generic. Both wines are California. And the second wine deserves much more attention than the first wine. Also, Alexander Valley is much more premium region as opposed to Lodi. Lodi usually makes these bold and heavy wines. And Alexander makes real elegant wines up north. Anyway, that's it for today. Both wines are Cabernet. Somehow they manage to be Cabernet Sauvignon in different ways. The more complex style of Cabernet Sauvignon that can be in California, and a more soft, rounder, easy drinking, less complex, simple in a way of Cabernet Sauvignon, as well as from, again, California. They're both generic wines. And I would dare to say, if I was blind, to say the second wine is coming from somewhere in Napa, and the first wine was coming somewhere in, I don't know, Sonoma, or sort of thing, you know, something cooler with a cooling influence. That's where it would be. And I was really wrong in the alcohol level, but it felt high both for them.
Okay.
Perhaps the fruit. Nevertheless, thanks for the tasting tonight. You made my night. The wines were incredible. Your presence, your company was incredible. And I hope to see you pretty soon.
I have a question. Did you select the wines for the next, the region, country for the next sections?
We are finishing it. We're just about to finish the next box, which is about South America. Some wines are in Brazil, some wines are arriving, some wines are not available anymore, so we are still sourcing. The idea is to source wines that are not common to us, or grape varieties that are not common to us. So no Cabernet, no Cabernet, no the obvious grape varieties. And when you are dealing with non-obvious grape varieties, you are dealing with winemaking technique. Because you need to use a less prestigious grape variety, you need to use a lot of technique to make a good wine out of a non-premium grape variety. So we are still sourcing, but I hope to finish by this week.
Okay.
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 All right.
Thank you very much for your presence tonight,
Thank
and
you.
I'll see you pretty soon.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.